County Tax Map Number 66.6-1-19, application JC and Evie LCD, 19 Central Square. I have here, on July 22, 2024, the planning board requested the application to provide the following additional information to the building inspector as soon as it is available, but no later than August 22, 2024.
I think we've gotten some correspondence from the applicant based on the gentleman that was here at the last meeting that said that the applicant was going to be hiring an architect to assist her because of various issues that she'd been having, including an issue with her mother, and that applicant, the architect would then come forth with the information that we were looking for. So I would say that we just, if no one shows up prior to the end of the meeting, then we'll just simply table it to the next meeting. Table it provides the information.
Which you're suggesting is that we put it at the end of the agenda.
Right.
And what's the pleasure?
We're going to table till the end.
Right.
That's fine.
Okay, all right, we'll move to the end of the agenda. Application 2023-2268, tax map number 66.9-1-59, applicant Jack Shearer, 2 Park Road. Application here says that you want to put up an awning at, so please charge the color of the awning and trim itself, 2 glass windows and previous window locations.
Correct.
So, are we looking for these items that we asked for last meeting?
Okay, I was going to ask if any questions from the board, and I guess that's your first question, is we're looking for the items that we have for the last meeting,
Yeah,
which are,
we're asking we asked for this additional information, this is on page 2. So, do we want to do that?
sure, because I don't see this right here in front of me.
Okay, details for business name, sign on awning, size, color, dimension, placement, location of the sign on the building. Do you have that?
Did Amanda provide anything other than what I brought tonight?
The window specs. And I believe, I saw it
In our email,
dimension of the sign.
this is what I was asked for, this fabric, the height of the letters.
She provided the size of the awning.
Yeah.
Oh, here, this is the letters on
That's
the
the
awning.
letters.
So that's the size of this
Okay.
sign,
Yes,
right?
Yep,
Yeah.
that's what
The,
it
the logo on the front of the
Yes,
awning is
that's what-
really a sign.
Yes,
Okay.
that's what was needed, correct.
So don't we get an actual sign application or an application that addresses it as a sign as part of this application?
It's on the application, it's all in one.
It says, in my application, it says,
Put up the awning itself to be changed to
well, trim itself, 2 glass windows and previous,
okay, see, and this,
window,
okay, this is what creates, and creates confusion because I don't have that application that says that's what, the revision in the application, which is one of the things that we asked about. I went back and got the application that we had at the previous meeting, and that didn't have that information on it, which is why we asked for these things. Now, you have an application with that information on there, but I don't know if the other board.
It was sent out to everybody.
Well, sent out is one thing. I come up and pick the copies up here. I don't know about the others. I know Leslie does that. Well, and it's been put in there after the date because.
Is this what you have?
What are we looking at? Is this the one that says amended wording 9/20/24?
Yeah.
Yes, that's the
Okay.
one that came in Friday.
So this was in the tray today.
Okay, but I came up, everything was supposed to be here on Thursday.
Oh, I mean, I don't know when it was put in the tray, but I just picked it out of the
All
tray,
right,
so.
everything's supposed to be here Thursday. I came up on Thursday, my wife came up on Friday, just whether there was anything else that had been put in. That was not in the box when I came up here. That's the kind of thing that creates confusion for both the applicant and for the board. Now, the rest of you may have gotten it on Friday or today, but that's really not as helpful as it should be for the board to be able to do a proper review.
Does he not have a copy?
He
No.
should, I made copies for everybody today.
Well, then maybe it's up there in the box.
Yeah, part of my concern is if the general public comes in, was there a copy available for them to be able to see it? Because if the general public might come in to review the application, and if this isn't there, that kind of like the sneaking things through with it.
And that's why I think we're supposed to be here 10 days ahead of the meeting. That's why I think we should be here 10 days ahead of the meeting.
Right, I mean, it's, sorry.
Although, it does, if there's a, especially if there's a public hearing. It's not a public hearing when the public's not invited to comment in any case, but it's still, 10 days is the standard for getting things in so that everybody has ample time to look at them.
Right, I mean, I expect that in terms of the fact that of my ability, just to simply to look at the color of the fabric, the color of the paint, the sign, what the lettering looks like or whatever, as part of the application. I mean, in another example, going along with tonight's meeting, there's when we're talking about a lot line adjustment, and all I got was a part of a.
Well, that's because that's just a merger.
Good.
But you end up in a case the applicant. Okay,
The
I'm
merger
sorry.
you don't have to do.
So,
Unless I get it off.
Francis, we reviewed the application at the last meeting, and we
Okay,
asked
those
for
changes were
addition.
made.
Yeah, and so the amendments that were on this copy that apparently you don't have today, that we have, the rest of us have,
Okay.
are the things that we asked for, which he brought in today. So we have a height dimension of the quote-unquote sign on the awning. Do you have any idea how wide that is?
It's about 8.5 feet, 8.5 feet
But like, are we counting just the sign is the Sotheby's, or we count the whole awning as a sign?
No,
I believe it comes just
just the portion that's
Okay.
Sotheby's is written.
Because
So it's 4.5 inches tall.
long, by 8.5 feet long.
4.5 inches?
It's just along the front of the awning.
Yeah, we have a picture of that.
Yeah.
I got that in another meeting.
Okay.
And just to, I don't mind restating it, I spoke with Francis outside of the building on the way in. I asked Sotheby's to take care of this for about a year, and they didn't. So now I'm here for them, not because I want to take.
So the next thing we asked for was the fabric swatch, which is right there. Manufacturer brochure specs for windows.
Yes.
That was sent out, that was emailed out to everybody last week.
Color chip indicating color name, color number, and manufacturer. Okay, and that's for the windows.
Correct.
And is that also for the doors?
So it's all the windows, doors, and trim.
Okay.
So it's everything.
I'll go back to what I said before. If you're talking about the windows, there's nothing here for the windows for the board to look at. There's no documentation, nothing for the. Okay, I know, I'm looking at you because as the attorney, if I'm wrong, I expect you to.
No, stuff's supposed to be here in time.
Okay, because,
I mean, usually, if it's a public hearing, it has to be here 10 days ahead, because the public has to have the right to see it. And there are cases on this, like if materials are presented the last minute of the public hearing, that can invalidate the hearing. So that's an absolute requirement. The things that are for the board, it's not the same legal requirement, but it's in time for you to adequately evaluate what needs to be evaluated. Sometimes the board says, addresses something in a meeting, but they said that we just need the documentation for it by the next meeting, and then sometimes the board's fine to have it come in at the meeting or at the very last minute. If it needs to be evaluated, then you may need it sooner, but I mean, that's the question. The board has to be in a position that it can take everything relevant into consideration, feel that they're in a position to make a determination. If stuff comes in and they feel like it needs to be reevaluated, they can't do it in this time frame, then you can push it out another month until you do.
So this is the window spec, I just wanna make sure, does that look like the window spec? Okay. Francis, do you have this?
No? And again, I go back to the same thing, I appreciate the building inspector sending out something notification, but that is not always the easiest thing to read or do, and I have repeated meeting after meeting, we ask the applicant to provide this information so that if I can read it, or other board members can read it, or the public can read it. The public does not get emails that go to private.
It wasn't a public hearing.
It's not a public hearing.
I know it's not a public hearing, but it doesn't mean the public couldn't be interested in the project.
That's true, but,
Okay.
but
I think what he's probably trying to say is that this board is trying to be open to the public, let people see what's going on. This almost looks like we're sneaking something through. And the problem with something like that is, it's not true, but the fact that it may look like that is what makes it.
well, as I said, that's why the general rule is materials should be in 10 days before the meeting. That's pretty much the standard. You can't really, if it's a public hearing, you can't waive that. If it's a, otherwise you could, you don't have to, but when there's a public hearing, the stuff has to be in advance because they must have the opportunity to review it, or they could basically challenge it and win it. You have the discretion, and that's why normally you would say 10 days. If for some reason, sometimes, as you say, everything's been addressed, someone just needs something in writing, and you can have it closer, but you don't have to. It's your decision to look at it and say, well, we think we've had this in time to properly address this, or we don't. And if you feel like we needed to have this sooner to really properly address it for this meeting, and we don't feel comfortable acting out of this meeting, you're perfectly fine to not do that and push it out another month. If you felt that you had everything in a timely way to let you do everything that you were comfortable in its entirety, you could say, fine, the timing was okay. But it's up to you to decide whether or not, if something didn't come in 10 days ahead, do you feel comfortable acting on it or not? And that's your discretion.
Continuing on,
The last thing that we asked for was to amend the application from replace window to read installation of 3 glass windows in previously bricked up quote-unquote window locations on east side of building, and that is on this amended wording.
It is, and the copy that was very nice. I see that now.
We did not, according to the minutes from last month, the applicant was not here. So in our minutes, we did not we asked for these additional items, but we did not specify those need to be here 10 days before the next meeting. We just said they need to provide this information, so. To be fair, we didn't provide a deadline.
anything more from the board?
Can I ask a question?
Can I ask it?
I was going to ask you that, really interesting to take aside. There's other things that were done on the building that didn't come before the board, and I'm not sure if they're required to come before the board or not. So I want to take that down, I mean, how Aaron felt it.
My thought would be that we should act on this application first and then ask that.
Okay, that's fine, that's okay.
That's not what it was.
It's not our job, it's like the building inspector brings things to us, and they're not brought to us.
So, what's the pleasure of the board?
Did the manufacturer of the windows, do you know who Marvin? They were Marvin windows, okay.
They built
asking, what's the pleasure of the board?
Okay. Do you have any other questions?
I guess the questions, I don't know, I hate being put in this position. I don't know how the rest of the board in terms of things not being as a package like we'd be expecting to be.
Well, it's a continuation. Right?
Yeah, I realize.
So if you're asking for other items, so it's a continuation of an application, and those items were provided.
Yeah,
That's the way I understand
Right.
it.
yeah, I mean,
You
it's,
have the other items asked for.
I mean, it's not a manufacturer's brochure cut in terms of the windows. It didn't say it was Marvin windows on here, which is what we did ask. And I mean, it ends up in a case that the information is great information on here. In the past, when we've asked for windows, we've had them give us a manufacturer's cut with the brochure. These are custom-built windows, but I know Marvin can provide you with some information about it so that we have in the file where it came from.
Which is in
Right.
front of you.
Right.
If it didn't have Marvin on the heading, I apologize.
And the same thing with the sign. I mean, when we had people put signs up, we get a thing of the sign, and the sign is addressed with the dimensions on the side and the square footage and what the color is, and it's a sign. It's submitted as a sign.
Understood.
Okay. This has really not been submitted that way, but since it's already up and was put up prior to any review and approvals, it now is pretty evident as to what it is. It's just concerning to me that we have recurring occurrences of where things are done and then come back.
Again, I asked Sotheby's to apply before it was installed. They refused.
Did they install it?
They dealt with the whole thing and the order and the color and.
And they put the awning up?
So,
And then she threw it on me to be here,
so what you're saying is.
which is what it is.
But the window trim is the whole building. The
Yes.
windows, the trim, color, and all
Yeah.
that is the whole building.
Yes, there is not another color.
So then, if, from what you said, if I'm correct, is then the application, that our review of the sign should not be with you.
No,
It should
I
be-
applied. I applied because they did not.
Who owns the building? That's who applies.
Jack applied.
Then that's
I'm
who
here
Jack-
on their behalf because they did not deal with it.
Okay, so,
But it's the building owner who's responsible for coming in here, so.
okay. But then, am I wrong in thinking of the aspect that what we got for a sign should be different than what we normally get for a sign in terms of a drawing that shows a box and the dimensions and the square footage and the colors identified on it, which is what we get from everybody else for a sign? I mean, we got it on a scrap piece of paper.
It's up to the board to decide whether the submissions, were sufficient for them to make the determinations. I mean, there are certain things, there are certain things that are in the code that are to be provided for certain things. Other times, it's up to you to just, within that scope, is it adequate for you to make a determination or isn't it? And that's your decision.
So I guess at this point, my question is, does the board feel that they've got sufficient information to carry on? And if so, what is the pleasure of the board?
Concerning the Marvin window thing, could we have like whatever copy of this that's going in the record, write Marvin on it and have applicant initial? It seems like something we would do.
Francis, do you have this in your stack of stuff that you might print out like that?
I may have that. I think that was in the box when we came in on Thursday, when my wife picked up on Friday.
That has the revised application and the window specs attached to it.
Okay.
Oh, well, maybe I don't have to look at it.
Is it safe to assume that there's a door, maybe two doors, couple windows on the side that are still boarded up, they will be painted same color? Okay. I don't have any questions.
that's the black trim that's going on the windows.
That's window, the trim, yes.
Is there anything else we have to do with the abbreviated site plan review? If not, I'll make a motion. Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve application number 2023-226A, tax map number 66.9-1-59, applicant Jack Sher, 2 Park Row. And this is, we are approving the abbreviated site plan for the color change and new windows and awning and sign on the awning.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Do we have any further discussion? Hearing no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I abstain.
All those opposed, same sign, and you abstain.
Yeah, I,
So. Okay. Takes care of that.
That pass?
That passes. Sorry. Passes. Application 24-135, tax map number 66.13-1-28. Application Aaron Jones of 48 Church Street.
Ariel Jones?
Aaron Jones?
I have an agenda anyway.
no, I don't think you are in there.
I think they cut your.
Yeah,
Do
do you need anything else?
Nobody else is supposed to be on the agenda?
We'll see you next month.
Fire.
Applicant here or a representative thereof?
I think that was another application where there was a lot of information that was requested. The applicant maybe still
This was a multi-family barn.
attempting to
Right.
put together, so,
So we should table this?
yes.
Is that, you making that motion?
We want to table until next month?
Well, just table until the
Okay,
applicant.
we'll table, let's table this until the end of the meeting, if the applicant shows up.
Okay. Table to the end of the meeting. Going on to new business, application of subdivision lot line adjustments, tax map number 66.9-2-33 and 66.9-2-34. Marcus Meyer. 6 Maiden Lane, Chatham, New York.
16.
16, excuse me. I will tell board members that from what I've seen, because of your application, I have the full tax map here. which-
Excellent.
Right now.
I would like to see it.
It's just merging two adjacent properties into one, and I've had for 20 years. So there's-
Yeah, this is, as far as I know, this is strictly a merger, right?
Yes, there's a merger, I'm not adjusting any boundaries, I'm not asking for anything.
And you don't, all you need is a letter saying that it's outside the planning board review. There's no review when there's just a merger. It's
Didn't
not-
we have a review once before on the lot line adjustment?
Lot line adjustments are different, because you're creating, you're changing, you're shrinking a lot. But when you're actually just combining two into a larger lot, it's not actually a subdivision, you're reducing the number of parcels. You're not making it any smaller. I think you may need just something from the chair saying that this is outside the planning board's review and it's acceptable.
You're the other.
Yes,
I just don't know, but it says raised and raised.
these are 20 years ago, these were demolished, I took them off site and built a house there. If you want to really easily be looking at it from here, this is,
If I'm correct, what you're saying, if this is the end of Park Row.
No, this is Main Lane,
Main Lane.
this is School Street down here, this is Cemetery Road, this is Thomas Street, so I have a lot of, and all I'm asking you to do is.
Help me with that one, again. Are you, we're still quick to make.
Sure.
This is Maiden Lane.
Main Lane.
Label.
It's easier on this one, just because I'm seeing it close.
Sure.
So here's Main Lane right here. Here's Thomas Street. Here's Cemetery Road. And School Street's all the way over here. So this is 20 years ago, I bought this, knocked the house down. I bought this parcel at the same time. I'm just tired of having two parcels contiguous and paying 4 different tax bills. And I just want to merge them. So this is like, it's like 1.1 acres. It's nothing for you guys to do.
Yeah.
So what we can say is that, you know, this actually doesn't go to our, if we just has to take this.
We'll deal with the county, whatever they need.
Correct. That's all I needed is, so I don't even need to come here for this, is what you're saying?
Right, I mean, we put in, just a chair could say, you know, or.
By advice of our attorney, this is,
It's not a subdivision.
it's
not a
not we're
subdivision.
gonna have to act on this,
Yeah, well, I was going to anyway, I
that
was just told that.
takes care of that.
I'll leave that back.
This is one of the.
Do we need to keep one?
That's-
Yeah, I'll
Did
get
you
you
have any extra ones?
I can get you some if you
I
want.
would appreciate one, because this is what we got, and I'll be honest with you, while I recognize what the attorney's saying,
Well, they just cut a,
I couldn't even figure out where I was looking at
Yeah.
this.
well, I can make you some copies. Do you want me to reduce them in size?
I prefer a full-size one.
But-
So I can just run some more copies?
It's not a subdivision, so.
Yeah, we don't
it's-
get it.
it's not-
I understand that, I would like a copy for my file.
Chat printing can scan those that size, they can copy.
I can go
Okay.
I can go to Gannett in their office, you know, I'm in the village again. So, other than, as a courtesy, bringing you out, I'll follow the guidelines you sent me about what the county's looking for.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's up to the county, I was just giving that to
Well, no,
you
I
for
appreciate it, so
information.
like pay taxes,
Yeah,
have the 2 copies, but you had said that this had to be stamped as approved by this board, that's why.
no, I said we get a letter,
Yeah, you can just put a,
yeah,
this issue, I think, just simply says, Village Planning Board, no review requirements permissible on.
So, but I need that, right? Like-
yes, I can get it to you
So when
tomorrow.
would that, oh, tomorrow, okay.
So that's that. And maybe the assessor, who- is this in this town of Ghent or?
It's in Ghent, in the village of Chatham.
Yeah.
the town of Ghent.
So it's in their court, it would be the county and the assessor and the
Yeah.
town, because the village doesn't have an
Yeah, I-
assessment,
yeah,
so.
right.
So we're clear, for the village, you're clear.
We're happy to say that
We have no problems with that,
we don't care.
which what I figured in the first place. So I will get a letter from you tomorrow.
Yes.
I'll just,
Yep,
and I'll leave you some additional drawings.
okay.
I would really appreciate it, thank you.
No problem. Okay, I'm good.
Yep. Okay, next order of business. I believe that finishes the new business. Now we go to other business. And this is asking for opinions from us for the ZBA. Application 2024-066, tax map number 66.13-2-31, Kiowa, 1 Washington Avenue, Chatham, New York, Village Code, Chatham. Variance required to extend a 4-foot, 5.5-inch fence with a potential loss of 35% of surface soil water created by a dog enclosure along the 2 front yards as presented. Maximum allowed height in front yard is 4 foot. Application is present a sketch and a photo of the request fence height and addition of wood slate on the bottom open section of the fence. The fence without the additional slate is currently along the side yard between the property and the firehouse. So basically what I get is he wants to extend the fence that's in the long side, still along the front.
Higher.
But higher.
Higher. And,
6 inches higher, I guess.
and potentially less than 35% open surface wall. So
That,
it's more closed up than we were allowed. Is that,
actually, after the application was put in, it was actually determined that it's 47 to 48% open space. So that first part doesn't need a variance anymore.
Okay, so it's
So
just, it's 6 inches higher.
Correct.
Okay.
And the slat at the bottom, does that matter?
She looked at every possible way where the open space is, and she came up with 47 to 48% open,
So it's just-
including that,
It's just about the height.
just about the height.
And the height is being changed, is going to be 4 feet, 5.5, 4 feet, 5.5 inches? So it's
Yes.
5.5 inches taller than what is normal height.
Allowed.
Is that correct? Is that how you read this?
Yeah,
How can I-
that's what I understand. yeah.
Okay, but when I first looked at it, I thought it was 4 foot to 5 foot 5 inches. But it's 4 foot,
That's, mathematically, that would be like 4 foot 5.5 inches.
okay,
There's no,
4 foot 5.5 inches. Okay.
Maybe maybe the top of the grass and the bottom. That's pretty precise.
what's your pleasure?
Just giving an opinion, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're giving an opinion.
It's the same fence that's already there.
No, it's a new fence, isn't it?
Well, it's a fence that looks like the one that's there,
It looks gonna look like.
but
Just a picture.
Do we have a picture of it?
Yeah, can you say that?
It's not printed for us.
oh, I keep forgetting, I have copies that you don't. That's the one picture, which is, I believe, the side. And that's,
Is that how it already is?
Yeah, so it looks like they're adding slats to it,
probably to keep it.
because it's a dog enclosure, yeah, so the dog could get out through this.
And then he's got a map here.
How is that getting higher?
Yeah.
Because it's probably already that high.
I'm assuming what he is saying,
They're not making it higher.
this one is already there. He wants to put one in the front that would be a little bit higher.
Maybe
It's
it's-
in- So,
Or there'd be.
It says,
are these slats only going between these two, or are they going through the whole thing?
Just there, I think.
I think probably the whole thing.
yeah, to
Well, then how the heck could you say
here to
that
here,
you got 40-some% that's open?
here and,
If you fill this up with slats, and that up with slats, if I'm reading this, and that with slats, and that with a slat, you're
is
certainly.
there a drawing?
Is that 40% open, 40% open of the fence or the property or what?
No, the fence, in other words,
It has to be mostly open,
Right.
it's like, it can't be a solid wall.
right, so if you have 35% of it that's open, or 40% or whatever it says, and it's in here someplace.
And it says they're extending the fence on the, application. Oh, here we go, look, this is a drawing. No.
So you can't have 40-some% open.
It is, because this is open, this is open, this is
Oh,
open.
okay.
There's 4 slats, so
Oh.
currently, if you look at the picture, there's,
3 slats.
yeah, so they are making it so that there's one more board, but there is not these big open gaps, which
Okay,
are
all
dog.
right. And then I can see the space.
They put a wire fence up?
No.
That's supposed to keep dogs in. Let's not keep dogs in.
Well, if the dog, it's depending on the size of the dog can't squeeze through,
They go
these
for
are
the dog.
6-inch spaces, 6-inch
Maybe they should
spaces.
just make the dog bigger.
So the dog is not gonna be able to get through 6
It's what I
inches.
think it is, it's a big dog.
Yeah, I think it's a big dog, actually.
It's a big, it's a
Oh, I'm
big
sorry.
dog.
I was like, these.
Yeah, see, that's.
This is, I think, the current fence.
Oh, and I wanted.
And
This
I think
is-
the rest of, like one here and one here.
Yeah.
This is a very nice drawing, right?
Yeah, I think
appreciate
this
drawing.
is very effective with all the measurements, for instance.
It's a horse fence.
It's a big dog.
So, forward to the zoning board, what's your pleasure? Is it
Do we have to make
right
a motion that's an opinion? How does that work?
Yeah,
Yes.
just send over a written
Recommendation.
comment, recommendation.
Well-
Or it doesn't even have to be recommendation.
We have said everything
Any
from,
input you want to give them.
we have said everything in the past of, we agreed to, we actually had one
So this is
John,
just,
so,
We can't, we make it.
I mean, the fair,
well,
fair association.
so they're
fence is
extending
only
the
fair?
fence to the front, around the front.
Yeah.
Right now, it's only on the side, and it's that open fence. So
We're
they
supposed
want,
to,
they want to extend this fence into the front.
And the zoning board hasn't decided yet.
no,
They want an opinion from us.
according to what it says here is referral to the village planning board. We're talking about the village, we're talking about the ZBA. Shall transmit at least 14 days prior to the date of the hearing held in connection with the appeal or application submitted to the board. A copy of such appeal or application, and shall request the planning board to submit its advisory opinion on such appeal or application. The planning board shall submit a report of such advisory opinion prior to such public hearing. So we submit an advisory opinion to them that,
Here's my thought on this, is, why can't they just make the fence 4 feet so that it complies?
well, I would agree with it. I can't-
The part that they're adding to the front should be compliant, because you let this property owner put up a non-compliant fence, and then everyone in town will want to be putting up
I do think
higher
from what I
fences.
remember the meeting that another thing, but it was because of the size of the dog, they felt they needed a little more height to keep the dog in.
And 5.5 inches.
6 inches?
Well,
It's not
I'm
gonna
just
be-
saying that's what they said. I'm not saying whether it's right or wrong, but that was the rationale apparently, from what I remember.
I agree with you, I have a hard time comprehending. 5
I mean, I have a dog, and, you know, I get it, like, I have a fence around my yard, it's 4 feet, and it's wire fence, you can see through it, but, yeah, I don't know, we approved, they approved this variance, then, you know, I'll be filling out an application to put in a higher fence around my yard too.
And that's fine.
You know what I mean, like, do we want that?
That's what I sent it over here for the
Yeah.
comments, whatever thoughts.
So I think,
So following that, our, what's it called? Advisory opinion could be like, if there's any way to have it work for them, but be a 4-foot tall fence, then try to work towards that.
That you're afraid that,
it'll set a precedent that
setting that precedent.
that we can have higher fences in the front throughout the village.
Well, I'm not even, it's not even just a precedent to me. I have a hard time figuring out, anyone calculated that 5.5 inches would make the difference between the dog being able to jump over the fence or not. I mean, it's like what you're saying, I mean,
They are big dogs, though. I think there's 2
So,
dogs.
the next question is, what's your pleasure, do we have a motion?
It's I mean, I don't speak for the whole board, but my opinion is that they do not allow a variance for the extra 5.5 inches.
I'll second that.
So I
Based
think
on
that,
the information we know about, maybe there's some good reason, but we didn't get.
Okay, so based on the information provided to the board in relation to this variance application, the board's advisory opinion is that a variance for the height of the fence not be granted, and the fence be constructed at the 4-foot height that is permitted by the zoning.
Just as a reminder, when the zoning board does it, they have to follow the statutory standards, which, you know, is there adverse impact on the neighborhood, and, I mean, there are some statutory things that they have to go through, so, that's what they have to do, they have to do a weighing test, but you make the recommendation and advice that you think that you want to.
Yeah, and they can listen to it or
they can do
ignore
what they
it.
want with it.
I mean, they asked us for
Yeah,
it.
right, they have to ask you.
They have to.
And very often, it's very often sending to the board, people just see things or think of different things that they should consider, and,
So I take it the action that this board is planning on is a motion to recommend that they do not grant the variance due to the information given to us.
I mean, you thought it was partly because we'd be setting a precedent. So put that in there.
And that it's not that much higher than the.
Yeah, put the reasons in there.
Yeah, adding that it's not much higher than the 4-foot allowed, plus it might set a bad precedent. Anything else? Hearing no other discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Okay, now that we got our opinions,
We have another.
we have another one.
Another opinion.
We have for another opinion. Application 2024-139, tax map number 66.5-1-22. And, which is the last name? 54 Central Street, Chatham, New York, the village code. Density, area variance required for a side yard setback of 10 feet, 15 feet is required per the code.
Wait, which one is this?
Area variance for required side yard setback.
Adrian Zunga?
Zuniga.
Zuniga.
Okay, this one, there was a lot of question about just how close to the side yard this one was. And there was a person there who sold the property to the current owner. So it's really, what they propose to do comes to about more like 5 feet from the line. He didn't have a survey, so the zoning board said they would table it until he returned with his survey, because it was really too vague to make a decision on. Because it was close to the line, they really needed a detailed survey so they knew just how close this thing was. So those distances may not be correct. In fact, it seems that they are not correct. It seems they're actually, the house exists, so what they're doing is they're extending the line of that. They're staying with the same line of the house, but that line of the house may be as close as 5 feet from the property line. So they're not building closer than it already is, but they're lengthening the building that same distance from the property line. It's getting very, very close.
Now what, okay, tell me this, you with her. I'm looking at one that talks about a garage, a 3-car garage, and an office and kitchen and whatever else. Is that the part of the house?
Is that the extension?
Or is that the extension? In other words, I got this here, which I'm not sure what is.
Oh, look at the next page.
And then I got this one here. This shows a 3-car garage, an office, a kitchen. Is that a kitchen? Yeah, I think so. And stairs going up.
I think this exists. I think we're going to have that.
So,
This is what
Okay.
the website is for.
so then, hold on. So then,
But there's
how is
also
it
where this
related?
is not.
How does this relate to this? Because then you're adding more dwelling space on top of the building, and with the kitchen, are we adding another dwelling unit? I mean, I have a hard time right now relating this drawing to this drawing. I guess what I would say,
Yeah, you could hold this for a month because they need to bring in some more information to ZBA.
At this point,
Because so they're not having a public hearing next month. They're gonna, in fact, maybe a couple months because he has to go get a survey, which may take him a while.
Oh, so they're adding the 3-car garage to the back of the house and then adding a second story on top of the garage and the house.
okay, in the second story then, based on the information that's on here,
the next page.
oh, this,
So the house is already there, the garage is not, and
but
neither.
then on the first story, is this kitchen part of the original?
I'm guessing that this is part of the building here, this is what they want to add, but that's a guess, which is why I'm saying.
Yeah, there's no original, this is
We
what's
do not
currently
have enough
there.
information to be able to make a recommendation.
So my recommendation is that we would hold our advisory opinion until such time as they can submit us a copy of the survey that shows on the survey what the person is doing in terms of his new structures and the distances from the sidelines.
I'll
I
say,
think that makes sense because there was a lot, what I said to the applicant too. They need to put in an elevation because when you're dealing with something that's close to a property line, The issue is the bulk impact, so it's like, if you want to do some little thing right next to the line, that may be not such a big deal, but if you're doing a two-story, big, it's gonna really be intrusive in its coastline, that's a whole different thing. So when you're considering variance, you've gotta be able to evaluate the whole impact on the adjacent property. So they were told they need to send in some more information.
It would even be helpful, and I don't know if this came up, that they show the location of the adjacent structure. So you know that in fact, maybe
It's about 5 feet on the other side of the line.
is it really? So really, then it does make an impact if they go up 2-story high.
Yeah, the applicant says, well, they're 5 feet away from their side, so why?
Because they're not adding.
The same way we're not.
So a motion and a second.
A motion made, a second, I believe, to table this until we get further information. Any further discussion? Hearing no further discussion, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Passes. Now we go back to the ones that we've already tabled, and I don't see anybody here, so do we want to make a motion that we table those until next month?
We table until such time as the applicant returns with the information requested.
We just want to leave it open-ended like that? It's been 2 months since she's been not providing the information.
Yeah, but at the last meeting, she did say he said the guy came, they were gonna get an architect.
No, I'm talking about across the
I
street.
am.
Okay, but here's my question. Several times what we have done is that we have tabled it for 30 days. When the person did not respond then at all, then we can act on denying it, or passing it if we wanted to. But if we table it until they show up, you can't do that.
Well, the only thing to me is, it obviously appeared to the woman across the street when she first came in, it was going to be the same as it was. Then after our conversations with her, it became very evident that what she was doing was not the same thing. We indicated to her what we needed. She ended up having some outside issues outside of doing the work with family and stuff. And then she realized that it was way beyond what her capability was or the contractor that she was working with. And the person who came in at the last meeting indicated that she was going to be hiring an architect, or proposing on hiring an architect to provide the information that we needed. My suggestion would simply be that maybe we could have our secretary simply send a letter to her, asking her if she can give us some guidance as to when she will be coming back to the board. Otherwise, the board will end up,
Again, my suggestion is that we table it until the next meeting, because then we have the option of that meeting if we want to continue.
okay, that's
I'll second that.
That's okay.
So, motion to table to the next meeting, because then we can act on however we want to at the next meeting.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion?
Yeah, can you just clarify why that over sending the letter now?
Oh, we can still send the letter. But the action that we're going to take on this is that we're taking it so that we can bring
We've
it up.
got one more chance to provide us the information before we act. Yeah.
Yeah, people should not just abandon things. If they say, look, I need 3 months, or, I can't come back until such and because I had to do this, and that's all fine.
And it
But-
really looks abandoned over there, so. That's-
But they shouldn't just disappear for an extended time. So if she
Person-
comes back and says, I can't come, whatever, I need the architect, it's gonna take me this much time.
If she comes back next month, says the architect says that they'll have the work done, information back in 30 days, we go there. She said, I don't know how long it's going to take the architect.
Yeah, we don't hear
That
anything.
makes sense, but I think it would be good to just send something to the person
Yeah.
that says, we expect you back to at least give an update about
The status of the
So
project.
you're amending it to say that we would like a letter sent explaining we'd like information.
it. It doesn't have to be in the motion, I'll just do it.
Okay.
Get it.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Passes the table for the
Okay, the other one that's on the table is Ariel Jones. This is the multifamily barn.
This is another person who seemed like he had a lot of things to figure out and come back to us with, but didn't tell us when he'd be back.
Right. And again, just like,
And this is one that work has not started, so he's
Right.
seeking approval, he's doing things in the right order, seeking approval before he starts
Very much so.
construction.
So, do we have a motion?
make a motion that we table it until the next meeting, and we ask
Ask for an update.
the board secretary to contact the applicant requesting an update on what the status of their application. And I would do that for both of them, if,
Yes.
and let it come from the village, so that, I mean, I know you said.
I'll amend the motion, just, can I do that?
Yeah,
That we write the letter and give it to the
Secretary of the Clerk.
secretary
Okay.
for us.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Passes.
I have another question.
Okay.
We
Question?
have to do the minutes.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, it's good, I apologize.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from Monday, August 26th.
Motion made, do we have a second?
Second.
Second, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Passes.
Question I was gonna ask is about our meeting schedule for the next 2 months with Thanksgiving and Christmas. I say that because I know that the Thanksgiving week, I will not be here. I don't know about Leslie, I tried to find out from her. It has been a time in which it's been difficult, with people, with holiday time, as to look at a calendar and maybe move it up a week on both Christmas and Thanksgiving.
Wait, the next meeting is October 28th.
Excuse me, yes, I'm sorry, I'm not talking October, I'm talking November and December. You're right, I'm off on that.
What you're saying is, do we want to plan ahead and not have the meeting in November the same as Thanksgiving?
Right.
What's your pleasure?
I don't have a problem with the 20th. It's before Thanksgiving, the Monday before Thanksgiving, but I don't.
So if we're suggesting we move it to the 18th, same time, same place. Okay, and then we go back to December,
It's on the 23rd.
the day before Christmas Eve.
So do the same thing, and that way the 2 meetings will have relatively
So
equal
that would
amount.
be December
That
16th.
would be the 16th. And by doing it now, it gives plenty of notice for,
Everybody that's, what's going on.
Okay, I'm fine with those dates.
I gotta, the event that I created and move the one that I should have.
Okay, so just for clarity, we're moving the November meeting to November 18th. We're moving the December meeting to December
16th.
16th.
Okay, anything else that should be coming up? I can take.
Did we need to do anything with this that you handed out?
I keep stuff like that in my binder.
I know, I'm just asking, was there,
It's information.
it's just information only that you're giving us? Okay.
So, meeting's adjourned.
Des, can you turn that camera off?
Yes.
I have something I just want, we're outside of the meeting.